Are you over 60 years old? If so, your breakfast, even if it is just a slice of toast or a sip of smoothie, could be determining how long your heart will keep beating. It is either quietly helping you live longer, or silently cutting your time short. That might sound scary, but it is the truth, one that very few people realize. Most older adults try to eat healthy by avoiding fried foods or cutting back on red meat. But what about the foods everyone assumes are good for the heart, like whole grain cereal, pure fruit juice, or low-fat yogurt? What if I told you that those so-called heart-healthy choices might actually be putting your heart on high alert? As a cardiologist with over 3 decades of experience treating thousands of older patients, I have seen this happen more times than I can count. People think they are doing the right thing, but then, they come back with the same familiar symptoms: fluctuating blood pressure, feeling drained, unusual dizziness, or a heart that suddenly starts racing out of rhythm. The truth is, many breakfast habits that seem healthy are actually hidden enemies of your heart. This video will expose 6 common morning mistakes you might be making, along with smarter alternatives that will help you feel stronger, steadier, and genuinely safe. The first one might already be sitting on your breakfast plate. And the last one? It just might change how you start your day, for good. Do not miss it, because the next beat of your heart could depend on everything you are about to learn. The truth about breakfast cereal: not everything that looks healthy is actually good for your heart. When you walk into a supermarket, it is hard to miss the long rows of colorful cereal boxes. They are covered in phrases like lowers cholesterol, high in fiber, or heart healthy. It all sounds convincing, especially if you are over 60 and trying to live a healthier life day by day. But here is what troubles me. Those very products, despite being labeled as good for your health, are quietly harming the heart health of many older adults. The problem lies in the word cereal itself. It brings to mind a wholesome beginning, a quick breakfast, easy to eat, and considered a safe choice. But behind the flashy marketing is a completely different story. Most boxed cereals today, even the ones labeled whole grain or low fat, are packed with ingredients that make it hard for your body to function properly. Refined flour, added sugars, hidden sodium, artificial flavors, and preservatives. For an aging heart, this is a recipe for dysfunction. You might be thinking, it is just a bowl of cereal, how bad can it be? But the truth is, even one serving can spike your blood sugar levels, because these cereals lack the fiber that helps slow down digestion. That forces your pancreas to work overtime to release insulin. And if you are already insulin resistant or pre-diabetic, that is a serious concern. Over time, your body responds with chronic inflammation, added stress on your blood vessels, and the perfect conditions for plaque to build up in your arteries, the fastest track towards serious heart problems. Sodium is another major issue that often flies under the radar. Some cereals that seem bland can still contain high amounts of hidden salt, disguised as flavorings or stabilizers. And if you are on blood pressure medication, that hidden sodium can quietly cancel out the effects of your treatment, without you even realizing it. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Raymond Harris, 68 years old. Living in Ohio, he was very disciplined about his health, ate mindfully, did light exercise every day, stayed away from fried foods and fast food. But he came to see me, frustrated and tired, because his blood pressure was still all over the place. His go-to breakfast? A bowl of whole grain cereal with fat-free milk. We looked at the label together: 19 grams of sugar per serving, 280 milligrams of sodium, and just 1 gram of fiber. The result? Every morning, he was unknowingly starting his day with a metabolic assault, not ideal for a heart that is almost 70 years old. I suggested he switch to slow-cooked whole oats, add some ground flaxseed, walnuts, and a few fresh berries. Just a few weeks later, he told me he felt more alert and his blood pressure was more stable. He came back and said, "I never thought the food I chose for my health was the very thing that was making me weaker every day." That story is more common than you might think. Older adults are genuinely trying to do the right thing, but they are being misled by clever marketing. So if you are starting your day with a cereal box that says, heart healthy, take a closer look at the ingredients list. If it has more than 5 grams of sugar or 5 grams of sodium per serving, it is time to rethink your choice. But cereal is not the only breakfast villain. There is another one, often sizzling right next to your eggs or toast, that you need to know about. And I will reveal that next. Sausage and bacon. The comfort foods that are quietly squeezing your heart each day. If there is a smell that can instantly take you back in time, to those cozy weekend mornings with family. Warm meals around the table. It is the scent of bacon or sausage sizzling on a hot skillet. For many older Americans, these foods are more than just breakfast. They are memories, a sense of comfort, an essential part of what makes a morning feel right. But sometimes, it is the most familiar things that do the most damage, and we do not realize it until it is too late. As a cardiologist who has worked with thousands of older patients over more than 30 years, I do not say this lightly, but I have to say it honestly. Bacon and sausage are two of the most silent killers most people never suspect. Even if you choose leaner options, or cook them until they are extra crispy to reduce the greasiness, they still contain high levels of saturated fat, a heavy dose of sodium, and harmful preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. Over time, these ingredients can damage the lining of your blood vessels, trigger inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system, and gradually raise your blood pressure, bad cholesterol, and risk of stroke. After the age of 60, your body is no longer as efficient at processing fat and salt as it used to be. Your arteries become less flexible. Your kidneys and heart slow down. A greasy breakfast is no longer just a tasty meal. It becomes a daily stress test for your heart. Imagine trying to pump blood through pipes that are slowly narrowing, like trying to push water through a sand-filled hose. Your heart has to work harder, non-stop. I remember one patient, Mr. Charles Monroe, 76 years old, a retired high school teacher from Missouri. He came to see me because he often felt chest discomfort after his morning walks. Even though he claimed to live pretty healthfully, avoided sweets, took his medications regularly, stayed active, when I asked about his breakfast, he smiled and said, "Doc, I still eat like I did when I was teaching, 2 eggs, 3 strips of bacon, a slice of toast. That is what gives me strength." But just the bacon alone contained over 600 milligrams of sodium and about 8 grams of saturated fat, not to mention the fried eggs and white toast. Given his age and other factors like reduced kidney function and the heart medications he was taking, that breakfast was essentially a ticking time bomb. His blood work showed elevated LDL cholesterol and signs of vascular inflammation. An echocardiogram revealed his heart muscle was beginning to thicken, a sign that it had been working too hard for too long. We did not take everything away. We made adjustments. The bacon was replaced with lightly sautéed spinach and mushrooms in olive oil. He still had eggs, but boiled instead of fried, along with half an avocado and a slice of whole grain toast. 2 months later, he came back with a satisfied smile, down 9 pounds, feeling less fatigued, and he even said, "I still miss the smell of frying meat, but I do not miss that heavy feeling I used to get after breakfast." The truth is, sausage and bacon will not knock you down in a day. They quietly chip away at your health, in ways you cannot always see, until something finally goes wrong. So if you love these foods for the habit, for the memories, that is completely understandable. But ask yourself, are a few minutes of flavor worth trading for a few years of quality life? Because for your heart, every small choice, every single morning, can make a big difference. White bread with jam. A breakfast that feels light but could weigh heavily on your heart. Many older patients have looked me in the eye and said, with complete confidence, "Doctor, I do not eat anything too heavy in the morning. Just a slice of toast with a little jam. Light, simple, that should be fine. Right? It sounds reasonable. No meat, no grease, no fried eggs. But the truth? This seemingly harmless breakfast is actually one of the hidden culprits quietly damaging heart health, especially once you are past the age of 60. Here is the issue. White bread is made from refined flour, stripped of nearly all its fiber, vitamins, and minerals. It is essentially like eating sugar in solid form. Add jam, packed with added sugar, and you are basically soaking your body in sugar every single morning. The result? Your blood sugar spikes, your insulin levels shoot up, and just about an hour later, the sugar crashes, leaving you feeling tired, sluggish, and unable to focus. What is more concerning is that, after the age of 60, your body does not handle these swings as easily as it used to. These sharp blood sugar fluctuations slowly damage the endothelium, the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Over time, arteries become stiffer, cholesterol sticks more easily, and the risk of arterial blockage climbs. Blood pressure rises, your ability to regulate blood sugar weakens, and heart disease starts to take root, silently. I remember a classic example. Mr. Samuel Price, 75 years old. Retired after years working maintenance at a local school in Kansas. He was active, walked every morning, never smoked or drank. One winter morning, he felt a mild chest discomfort while walking to the nearby store. When he came to see me, his initial numbers showed elevated blood pressure, and his HbA1c, which reflects his average blood sugar over 3 months, had crossed the warning threshold. "I do not eat anything bad, Doc," he told me. "Just a slice of toast and some jam every morning. That is it." But after digging deeper, we realized that this light breakfast was exactly what was causing those intense blood sugar swings each day. The white bread had no fiber. The jam was loaded with sugar. There was no protein, no healthy fat to slow digestion. His heart was being thrown into emergency mode every morning, with blood sugar spikes and crashes, insulin surges, and mounting stress on his cardiovascular system. We changed his routine. He switched to sprouted whole grain bread, spread a thin layer of almond butter, and added a few slices of ripe banana. 3 months later, he came back looking more energetic. His blood pressure was lower, his heart rate more stable, and he said, "I never imagined such a simple breakfast could cause so many problems." I was honestly surprised. And that is exactly why white bread and jam are so dangerous, not because they hurt you right away, but because they quietly chip away at your health, little by little, until it all adds up to something serious. So if you are starting your day with a slice of white toast and a layer of sugary jam, take a moment and think about your heart. Is that breakfast truly light and easy? Or just a sweet illusion, leading toward a future that is anything but? Bottled fruit juice. That sweet sip in the morning may be overworking your heart. A glass of orange juice in the morning might seem like a healthy choice. It is a familiar image in many households, bright, refreshing, like you are starting the day off on a positive and wholesome note. But for those over the age of 60, that seemingly innocent glass could be placing unnecessary stress on your heart, without you even realizing it. What is the truth? Even when the label says 100% juice, or no added sugar. Most bottled fruit juices are loaded with natural sugars, but stripped of the crucial fiber found in whole fruit. Without fiber, the sugar in juice is absorbed almost instantly into the bloodstream. And at this age, when your body processes sugar more slowly, that means a rapid spike in blood sugar within minutes, a sudden surge of insulin in response, and your heart working harder to keep up. This does not just leave you feeling drained or low on energy mid-morning, it also causes blood vessels to constrict, increasing the risk of inflammation, high blood pressure, and long-term cardiovascular issues. I once met Mrs. Lorraine Phillips, 76 years old, a retired nurse from Colorado. She came in complaining of morning palpitations and irregular heartbeat, even though her initial tests showed nothing alarming. After a more in-depth conversation, she told me, "I do not drink coffee or soda. Just 1 glass of grape juice every morning." I thought that was much healthier. But no one had told her that a 12-ounce glass of grape juice can contain up to 36 grams of sugar, the equivalent of nearly 3 tablespoons of white sugar. And it enters the bloodstream quickly because there is no fiber to slow it down. For a sensitive cardiovascular system, that is a significant shock. We placed a heart monitor on her and found that about 20 to 30 minutes after her morning juice, her heart rate would slightly increase, and her blood pressure would fluctuate. Every morning, she was unknowingly putting her body into a mild state of biological alarm, all from what she thought was a healthy habit. I explained that if she ate whole fruit, like an orange, an apple, or some blueberries, it would be completely different. The fiber in fresh fruit slows sugar absorption, prevents those sugar spikes and crashes, and helps the heart stay more stable. We made a change. She started eating half an apple with some nut butter, or a fresh orange with a handful of almonds early in the morning. 3 weeks later, She returned and said, "I no longer feel that jittery heart sensation in the mornings. I had no idea just one glass of juice could affect me so much." Here's what I want you to remember. Juice is not fruit. It does not offer the same benefits, especially not for a body over the age of 60. And it is not just orange or grape juice. Even trendy, green juices, or bottled detox drinks can contain concentrated sugars that an aging heart has difficulty processing. So if you are still starting your day with a glass of fruit juice, even with the best intentions, it might be time to reconsider. There are far better ways to begin your morning and still nourish your heart in a lasting, sustainable way. For example, a piece of whole fruit with its skin, paired with a bit of protein, like walnuts or a boiled egg, can help you feel full longer, avoid sugar spikes, and keep your heart steadier throughout the day. Because if juice alone is enough to put this much strain on your heart, imagine what happens when you follow it up with a coffee filled with cream, sugar, and artificial flavoring? Coffee, a seemingly harmless habit that may be a sweet trap for people over 60. You think you are enjoying a sweet cup of coffee to help you wake up in the morning, but in reality, you might be making your heart work overtime before the sun has even fully risen. For many retirees, the morning does not start with an alarm clock. It starts with the smell of coffee filling the kitchen. It is a daily ritual, a quiet moment for themselves. Sometimes even a little reward after a restless night. If it is plain black coffee, no sugar, no cream, then you have nothing to worry about. In fact, when consumed properly, it can even support heart health. But what is really happening out there is something else entirely. The food industry has transformed coffee into dessert in disguise. Today, the morning coffee, for millions of Americans, is actually a risky combination. A caramel latte piled with whipped cream, a chocolate frappuccino, or a homemade brew mixed with flavored syrups and sweetened creamers. And behind that pleasant sweetness lies a heart-stressing mix of sugar, saturated fat, and caffeine. Three things you should be especially cautious with after the age of 60. Just one vanilla latte or frappuccino can load your body with 25 to 50 grams of sugar, more than a frosted donut. For younger people, this might just cause a mild insulin spike. But in later years, the insulin response is slower and less efficient, making that excess sugar far more dangerous. It can trigger inflammation in blood vessels, a rise in triglycerides, fat in the blood, and over time, plaque buildup in arteries, leading to a higher risk of heart attack and stroke. And it does not stop there. Caffeine, which makes your heart beat faster, adds fuel to the fire. At age 30, it might just cause a slight jitter. But at 65 and beyond, it can lead to palpitations, irregular heartbeats, or sudden spikes in blood pressure, especially dangerous if you are taking beta blockers or blood pressure medication. I recall a perfect example. Mr. Harold Simmons, 73 years old. From Oregon, he was meticulous, walked daily, ate a low-salt diet, took his medications on schedule, and cared deeply about his heart health. But he had one small pleasure that no one thought to question. Every morning, he would drive past his local coffee shop and order a mocha latte with whipped cream and caramel drizzle. Things only started to show when he began feeling unusually tired in the mornings and occasionally felt like his heart skipped a beat. A 24-hour heart monitor revealed irregular heart rhythms in the early hours, not immediately dangerous, but a clear signal of a heart under pressure. Together, we looked at the ingredients in his favorite latte: 41 grams of sugar, 320 calories, all consumed before breakfast. Sugar triggers inflammation. Caffeine stimulates the heart. That is a 1-2 punch to your cardiovascular system before your day even begins. We suggested he switch to diluted black coffee with a splash of unsweetened almond milk. After just over 3 weeks, his heartbeat was more regular, and his blood pressure stabilized. During his follow-up, he looked at me and said, "It was just coffee. I had no idea it could do that much harm." And that is the most dangerous part. It does not feel like a harmful habit. It feels comforting, familiar, even like a small act of self-care. But beneath the surface, those sugary coffees are triggering a chain reaction that weakens your heart bit by bit. If your morning coffee resembles a dessert with cream, flavors, and obvious sweetness, it is time to stop. You do not have to give up coffee, But you do need to give up the version that is quietly putting your heart in crisis mode. And if you think that is the only morning trap, just wait, because there is another food, seemingly healthy, labeled as nutritious, that is misleading millions of older adults every single day. It might be sitting in your kitchen right now. Let's take a closer look. Flavored yogurt, a breakfast that feels gentle on the stomach but silently strikes your blood sugar and your heart. You believe you are starting your day light and healthy, with a cup of smooth, fruity yogurt, vanilla, strawberry, maybe blueberry, cool, creamy, easy to digest. What could possibly be harmful about that? But once your heart has passed the age of 60, this seemingly harmless breakfast can feel more like a sudden sugar surge, when your body is no longer equipped to handle. Yes, yogurt can be very good for you, rich in calcium, great for digestion, supportive of gut health, but the problem lies in the kind you are choosing, especially if it tastes naturally sweet, in a suspiciously perfect way. Strawberry yogurt, vanilla, blueberry, or honey-flavored varieties, they sound wholesome. But in reality, they often contain a high amount of refined sugar, fruit preserves or syrup, artificial flavoring and coloring, and almost no fiber. Just one small 6-ounce container, about 170 grams, can contain anywhere from 18 to 25 grams of sugar. That is equal to 5 or 6 teaspoons of white sugar. Before you even eat anything else, a younger body might handle that amount of sugar without much trouble. But once you reach middle age and beyond, everything changes. Insulin is released more slowly. Cells become less responsive to it. As a result, your blood sugar spikes right after eating, then crashes soon after. These high-low swings trigger inflammation in your blood vessel walls, mid-morning energy crashes, and a higher risk of plaque buildup in the arteries. Eventually, this leads to a greater risk of heart attacks, strokes, and heart failure. I once worked with a woman named Helen Ramirez, 77 years old, living alone in the suburbs of Colorado. A retired nurse, she was disciplined, exercised daily, and paid close attention to her health. She came in feeling unusually tired by mid-morning, occasionally dizzy, and sometimes felt her heart skip a beat. We asked about her diet. She smiled and said, "I am extremely careful. My breakfast is just fruit yogurt, a banana, and a cup of herbal tea." It sounded reasonable, until we took a closer look. The yogurt she was eating contained 21 grams of sugar. Add a ripe banana, and her breakfast totaled nearly 40 grams of sugar in a single sitting. By around 10:30 in the morning, her blood sugar would crash, triggering a faster heartbeat and light tremors, classic signs of a post-sugar crash in older adults. We did not ask her to give up yogurt, just to change the way she chose and paired it. She switched to plain Greek yogurt, added a handful of fresh blueberries, sprinkled in chia seeds and ground flax seeds for fiber and healthy fats. Within just 2 weeks, she noticed a difference. No more mid-morning fatigue or breathlessness, more stable blood sugar, and her blood pressure gradually returned to a safer range. She said to me at her follow-up, "I thought yogurt was the safest choice out there. I had no idea it was sweet in all the wrong ways." And that is the real danger of modern food. It knows how to make you feel like you are doing the right thing, while quietly misleading you. Spoonful by spoonful, you see words like light, low-fat, fruit, or organic on the label, but your heart does not read labels. It only reacts to the sugar, preservatives, and real ingredients inside. If you love yogurt, keep eating it, but choose the right kind. No added sugar, paired with natural fiber like seeds or real fruit. And never trust the marketing printed on the container alone, because even something as simple as your breakfast can turn into a silent enemy of your heart. What should you eat for breakfast after age 60? Simple foods that act as armor for your heart. You have just heard about all the sweet but dangerous breakfast traps, from sugary coffee drinks to seemingly innocent fruit-flavored yogurts. And now you might be wondering, so what can I actually eat for breakfast? That is not just a fair question, it is an essential one. Because after age 60, every meal is no longer just about filling your stomach, it is about feeding your cells, protecting your arteries, and keeping your heartbeat steady. Every bite you take is a choice between healing or harming your body. The good news is, With just a few small changes, the right foods at the right time, you can gently lower your blood pressure without more medication. Keep your blood sugar stable all morning. Reduce chronic inflammation in your blood vessels. And help your heart beat stronger and more consistently each day. I remember one woman, Eleanor Martin, 82 years old. A retired midwife from a small town in Georgia. She came to see me not because she was sick, but because of a hunch. She said, "I am not unwell, but I wake up every morning feeling heavy-headed and sluggish. My blood pressure has crept up a little, and I do not want this to turn into something bigger." We started with the simplest thing, her breakfast. No pills, no strict regimens. We just removed the insulin-spiking foods and replaced them with gentler, heart-friendly options. We chose steel-cut oats, not instant oatmeal. She sprinkled in a tablespoon of chia seeds and added some fresh blueberries, just sweet enough, and packed with anti-inflammatory benefits. Some mornings, she rotated in one boiled egg and half an avocado on a slice of toasted whole grain bread. The perfect combo of protein and healthy fats to keep her full and stabilize blood sugar all morning. On weekends, she treated herself to plain Greek yogurt, sprinkled with cinnamon and crushed walnuts, delicious, rich in healthy fats, and full of probiotics. In less than a month, Eleanor came back smiling. For the first time in years, I do not feel like I am running on empty all day. I feel steady. If you want to feel that way too, here are the foods you should prioritize for breakfast after age 60. Steel-cut oats or rolled oats, high in soluble fiber. They help lower bad LDL cholesterol. Avocado, a source of healthy unsaturated fats and natural potassium. Both support blood pressure control. Eggs, boiled, poached, or pan-cooked without oil, high-quality protein. Rich in vitamins. Just avoid pairing them with bacon or cheese. Plain Greek yogurt provides probiotics and calcium. Skip the flavored or sweetened versions. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, loaded with antioxidants to protect blood vessels from inflammation. Nuts and seeds, chia, flax seeds, walnuts, almonds, deliver good fats, fiber, and anti-inflammatory properties. Cooked vegetables, spinach, carrots, zucchini, great additions to a savory breakfast that increase your fiber intake. Whole grain or sprouted grain bread, easier to digest and better for blood sugar than white bread. Extra virgin olive oil, one of the heart healthiest oils, a better alternative to butter or margarine. These foods do not just support your heart, they also work well with your medications. They do not interfere, they do not conflict. In fact, they help your treatments work even better. And the best part? You do not have to change everything overnight. Just start tomorrow morning, with one smart choice. It is never too late to make a change. Your heart is still listening to everything you eat. And breakfast, though it may seem simple, is the one moment where you have the most control to live healthier and more intentionally. A message from the heart, from you, to you. If you are still here, still listening, I want to say something that maybe, just maybe, no one has said to you in many years. You still have time, and so does your heart. Whether you are 60, 75, or even 85, it is never too late to change the direction of your health. It is never too late for your heart to feel the care it truly deserves. Your heart is not a superhero, but it is the most loyal friend you have ever had. It has never taken a day off, not once in all these years. It never asked for anything in return, never complained. It has carried you through heartbreak, through surgeries, through moments of anxiety and joy alike. It has endured more than you know, and it is still beating. Every minute, every second, but one day, it starts to speak up, in the form of fatigue, skipped beats, or blood pressure that just does not behave. Not because it is weak, but because it is trying to say, "Please, pay attention to me." Now, after 60, your body is no longer what it once was. Blood sugar is no longer as steady as it was at 30. Your arteries lose their flexibility. Your digestion, your liver, your kidneys, your hormones, everything slows down. And the eating habits that once seemed harmless might now be fueling the very issues you are hoping to avoid. But the most dangerous part is not the food itself. It is the thought, "I am too old to start over." There is no greater lie. I have seen people in their 80s, Lower their blood sugar without extra meds. Reduce inflammation simply by changing what is on their plate. Regain mental clarity just by treating breakfast with more care. I have walked alongside men and women who once thought their story was already written, only to discover strength and vitality they thought they had lost long ago. You do not need six-pack abs. You do not need to live like a monk. You only need one new decision to begin a new chapter. Science is clear. Healthy eating habits can reverse chronic inflammation. They can stabilize blood pressure. They can improve blood sugar. They can reduce the risk of stroke, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. And you do not need to do it all at once. You just need to start with one better choice tomorrow morning. You just need to listen to your body after each meal. You just need to be honest with where you are and stop treating your body like it is still 30 years old. And if your mornings have begun with sugary cereal, creamy coffee, or fruit-flavored yogurt, forgive yourself. You are not lazy. You are not careless. You simply have not been given the right information. You have been living by what society has taught you to believe. But now you do know. And knowledge, at this age, is power. Because one small choice today, if repeated, creates a big result tomorrow. Your heart does not need you to be perfect. It just needs you to care. To be consistent. To be kinder to yourself. Let it rest. Let it keep serving you, not out of strain, but out of gratitude. If you need one final sentence to carry in your heart, let it be this: your next heartbeat is a second chance. Your next meal is a choice you get to make. And your next small action could be the beginning of the life you have always wanted. Choose what helps your heart heal, not what makes it endure more pain. You are not finished. Your story still has so many chapters left to write. And if you want me to walk beside you, with meal plans, simple tips, or just a reminder that you can do this, I will always be right here. Thank you for being here. Live well, the way you deserve. If this message meant something to you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0, so I can keep improving what I create for you. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, so we can keep walking this journey together.